The wisdom of insecurity is that the very act of trying to be secure is what creates insecurity. And thereby accepting our insecurity, we become secure. Now, I don't know if that sounds like a lot to you right now or if that was totally obvious, but this was the premise of a book by a philosopher named Alan Watts. The book was called The Wisdom of Insecurity, and it is one of my favorite subjects and probably my all-time favorite book. It's very small, and one of the ways that I explain it is that it was one of the reasons why he got kicked out of being part of the Catholic order that he was a part of, which says a lot about the power of this book. It is intense, and it's also very simple and easy to understand. And really, I just gave you all of it. But then the question is, how does it play out in your life? Well, here's the thing. The other day, someone said to me that which we protect the most is the weakest. It's another idea of looking at the same point. And it brought up all these memories about the wisdom of insecurity. And someone in this conversation brought up a story about how there was a baby whose mother dabbed it with so much alcohol all the time. Every time anybody would ever touch it, she would dab the baby in alcohol in order to disinfect it. And this baby ended up getting severely ill. Why? Because it didn't have any defense systems. It had no immunity. And this brings up a whole new aspect of the same point. And maybe that is that, look, in order to grow, we have to burn. In order to grow, we must resist against something. We must push. There must be pain involved. And I've been thinking about this today a lot. The difference between pain and tapas. Tapas is burning. Pain is what you feel in your heart before a heart attack. One is destructive, another one is constructive. But if we're stuck in comfort, we won't be able to accept either into our lives. Why? Well, because sometimes tapas might feel painful to us when really it's purifying. For example, waking up in the morning or going to the gym, exercising. If you're out of shape, this is going to be the hardest thing you can do for yourself. But then again, how much do you really need it at that point? I've said before in another blog post that stretching is, if you can't, you must. And that's the point of it. The reason to stretch is because you don't have the flexibility already. And if you did have it, you wouldn't need to stretch. That's it. That's the bottom line. Now, the wisdom of insecurity, that which we protect the most is weakest. Or by trying to be secure, we become insecure, is such an important thing to keep in our minds as we deal with any emotional or mental disturbances. So, for example, if you're afraid of something, and I don't mean afraid of spiders, because obviously there's a little bit of a difference there, but I mean afraid of something like, for example, public speaking, or you're afraid of giving a presentation in a class, which is related, or you're afraid of even turning in a paper or finishing something that isn't perfect, well then what are you getting yourself involved in? Well, you're getting yourself involved in some form of perfectionism, some form of need for security, because that's all perfectionism is. It's completeness. So once we know something's perfect, we don't have to worry about it anymore. It's totally secure, but the fact of the matter is nothing's perfect. So nothing is secure. And it's a really liberating thought, because when you can finally accept that and accept your own insecurities, you don't have to hide them. And by not having to hide them, there's nothing to be exposed. One of my favorite practices is literally getting naked. And I don't mean just naked for myself. I mean naked drum circles, whatever it is, because look, it gets me over my shit. I go, well, all right, now I can't hide my body anymore. This is all I got. That's it. Right? And every time you're exposed, if you've ever done it before, you know that feeling where you put yourself out there and you said, this is all I got, and that's it. And nobody else can touch you anymore. Right? So, for example, if you've ever had a secret that you didn't want anyone to know, do you think that that's a strong point for you? No, it's a total weakness. That's why I try not to have any secrets in my life, because anything that you're afraid that other people might find out is a weakness within yourself that your shadows, demons, negative people can exploit. Or friends could just step on, not knowing the difference. So I try to keep those things out of my life, and I encourage you to do the same. Because I remember distinctly being in high school and everyone's sort of gossiping about everyone else, and I remember not wanting to talk about certain things or people knowing certain things about me. But guess what? If those things ever came out, if I was ever found out, I would feel so relieved. You know, there might be that feeling of being totally crushed and the whole universe falling on top of you and having lost all of your sense of self and all of your respect and no one's going to like you anymore. But that's all bullshit in your brain, because you know that moment that it's out, it's a breath of fresh air. You don't have to deal with it anymore. It's like telling a truth to someone who you've wanted to tell the truth to for a very long time, but you're afraid of how they might feel about it. It comes out, and then it's out. Whew. You don't have to worry about it. And then sometimes when it comes out, you'll try to hide it and, pull it back and be like, no, that's not how I truly feel, when really all you want is just to have that conversation, so have it. Don't keep holding on to that sense of security. All it does is hurt you. It can't make you feel more secure because it's a point of weakness. Look, Achilles' heel. We all have them, right? And if you do have them and you cover them up the most, and the only part of your body you're covering is your Achilles heel, because that's the only dangerous part of yourself, well, guess what the first thing your opponent or your enemy or your shadows are going to look at? They're going to look at that spot in particular. Now, there's so much more that we could talk about relating to this subject, but I just want you to get this so far, that the wisdom of insecurity is that which we protect the most is weakest. The wisdom of insecurity is that by trying to be secure, we create insecurity. So don't try to be secure anymore. In fact, if you have a secret, a part of your body or yourself, your emotion, your history that you are hiding, because you're afraid people would find that out and you'd lose your entire life. You'd be totally crushed. You'd be ruined. I want you to stand up right now and say that thing. Say that thing. I've got no hair, or I'm too hairy, or I've got a unibrow, or I'm fat, or I'm not enough shape, or I'm not a good husband, I'm not a good father. Whatever it is, I hurt my kids. Just get it out. Much love, many blessings, and don't